Hello and welcome to the May 15th edition of the Cluster API Office Hours, a subproject of SIG Cluster Lifecycle. If you have any agenda items that you want to bring up, please go ahead and add them to the document. I'm going ahead and linking that in the chat now for those who are following along, and also add yourself to the attending list as well. We have a real, let's see, to start off, Vince wanted to go over some meeting etiquette.
Yes, I was watching the recording like last week, and I've noticed.
Hearing events.
Sorry, can you hear me?
You're coming through really quietly.
I can hear him.
Oh.
He sounds normal to me.
Yeah, I think he's good now.
Sorry, that was, yeah.
So I was watching the recordings like from like a few last week meeting, and I've noticed like some like we haven't like set like kind of like like rules for like our meetings. This is a reminder to like follow the code of conduct for CNCF and the community values that Kubernetes set. One other thing is to keep agenda items short and like around two minutes, so to give other folks also kind of like a way for them to contribute to the meeting. And I would like to propose to use the Zoom raise hand feature. This will put a little bit more work on the moderator that we use, like in this case, like Jason, and avoid interrupting folks unless, of course, you're moderating. This is just like to kind of have better engagement and also to be mindful like of the time that others have to put in kind of like presenting something or like general meeting etiquette in this context.
Any comments there?
Well, my initial reaction is this seems that it's what changed the format of some of these meetings from discussion-based and into presentation-based. And I'm not sure where the value is in a strictly presentation-based meeting.
It's the standard practice for SIG architecture, as well as other SIGs that are larger. SIG architecture had to adopt this pattern because there were so many people trying to talk over each other that they had just used the raise hand feature.
I think in the context that right now we're on a fact-finding discussion mode. And so I think that's where some of maybe the contention here is, we're actively proposing things and actively discussing those things. And if we pivot out of that mode into more of a maintenance kind of mode, I think that's a fine setup.
All right, Andy, you had some? Sorry, I didn't see whose hand.
Doug's next.
Thanks, Andy. Yeah, I think this is a good idea. I understand Michael's concern about having it sort of cause the flow of conversation to maybe slow down a little bit. But I think it gives us an opportunity to listen to each other in a way that I noticed last week we weren't necessarily doing too. So I think it's a good change. I'd like to at least try it for a little while. And if we decide later that it's causing us to go too slow, then maybe we change again.
All right. Thank you, Doug. Anybody else have anything on that topic? No. All right. Moving on, Vince wanted to propose closing the work streams.
Yes. So I think like we're kind of coming before KubeCon, and we kind of set like ourselves for the next few weeks to propose to put the proposals in Cluster API. So it would be great to like kind of wrap up the work streams and kind of discuss like in the main meeting if like there is anything they want to discuss synchronously, or just like focus on the proposal.
I thought it was still work in progress.
Could you repeat that, Ilya? I didn't catch it.
I was under the impression that it was all work in progress still.
Some work streams are. I think though that like at this point, it's kind of clear like where we want to go, which is like kind of the proposals, and kind of to set like, like to make some progress. And I think the work streams can probably be wrapped up at this point, given that like we know where we wanna go and which proposal like are in flight. So kind of focus on that and then bring up the discussion in this community meeting if needed or as needed.
I think Doug had his hand up first.
I'll let Tim go first.
I think there's two parts that I think are good to this, and feel free to point out things that you don't like too. Well, there are overlapping concerns that exist in some of these proposals, and if we collapse them into concrete things that we can talk about in this main meeting, I think that's a good thing. And then it forces us to review the docs that we've created. And I do know that like you can't do some things without the other things, and this way it was a way for us to talk separately, trying to do things in parallel, but inherently we're going to have to come back and do things in a little bit more synchronous fashion for some stuff that's going to be lockstep interlocked, right?
Doug?
Yeah, so I think we're probably ready to do it too. I'm a little bit concerned with the way Vince phrased the idea that we know exactly or more or less what we want to do, because I feel like that is still very much up for discussion. But I think having them split out helped us, as Tim just said, focus on different areas, but realize that there is a lot of overlap between them and that we're going to have to do some things in certain order. And I think we do understand that part now. So.
From that perspective, I absolutely agree. I wasn't sure whether the parallel nature was working, and it seemed like the data model conversation was key to everything else.
Ilya, can you please start raising your hand in Zoom?
Okay.
We're trying to enforce ordering of discussion. All right. Andy was next.
Yeah, I'm just looking for some clarification. So are we talking about just the sort of formal aspect of the work streams having meetings and whatnot is shutting down, but everybody who's involved in the proposals will continue to work on the proposals, or is there something more to it?
That's exactly that. It's more like to kind of realign like in the product group instead of like keep separating it.
Thanks.
I don't mean to jump in here, but is there like a raise hand button or something? I don't see that anywhere.
It's under participants. So if you click on participants, there's a raise hand button.
Yep, I see it. Thanks.
All right. Anything else on that topic, Vince?
No, good.
All right. Next item, I just wanted to make sure everybody was aware we're not having an office hours next week. It's been canceled because there's going to be quite a few people that are at KubeCon next week. And I lost my space. There we go. And I'm also going to need to see if we can find a volunteer to moderate the office hours for the 29th of May, because I will be out that week.
I can moderate, or Vince.
Thank you, Tim. All right. And then looks like the next agenda item is Moshe with Image Builder Kit.
Yes. So there's been quite a lot of discussion going around on the document itself, and I think one of the things that we perhaps need to tackle is kind of where the actual images get built upon, and what our constraints for the CI infrastructure are. So I think if we if we can kind of solve that problem, we might be able to move a little bit forward on that. I'm not sure, but Tim, maybe you have some different ideas there.
I think it's fine to. I was going to rewrite the current proposal and break down some of the pieces into details underneath the proposal. There's a lot of good data in there. We have like 20 pages now. So but the ordering of what we talked about last time, I have not written down. I focused my last 2 days on rewriting the machine lifecycle hook proposal. That is in good shape. My plan for the next days leading up to KubeCon is to get that other proposal in better shape to make it more consumable to everyone else. So I may give me a couple days to try and get more content in place. Or if you want to work with me on that too, that'd be super helpful as well.
Yeah, I'm very happy to work with you on that.
Perhaps we can sync after this meeting. I can set up a quick Zoom.
Yep, sounds good.
All right. Anybody have any questions, comments, or concerns there? All right. Any other topics? We're currently out of agenda items for today.
Just wanted to PSA, I'm using my old school hand raise. I just wanted to PSA that I updated the machine lifecycle hooks cap from the feedback we got from last time, and I think it's broadly consumable. There's the details that need to be filled in. Obviously, I have to-dos in the doc, but if folks want to take a look, feel free to take a look at it.
Looks like we have a question from Ross in the chat. If there is an in-person session at KubeCon, Tim, you want to take that?
There's a broad SIG cluster lifecycle session during the contributor summit. So I highly recommend for folks to go during that. It's on Monday in the afternoon. We have the entire afternoon blocked out for the entire SIG. And I'm sure there are a bunch of discussions we can have there. I do want to make sure that we at least take notes if we can't get a video recording. I do believe that they last time they had a video recording for some of those breakout sessions, but if we don't, I'm going to ask for a note taker to make sure that, and no decisions should be made in those meetings. It should be a group facilitated discussion to talk about potential ideas, but we should defer to the broader SIGs for making decisions, or some projects making decisions.
Thank you, Tim. Looks like Pablo has a question.
Regarding this session, there will be a proposed agenda of topics, or is it really like we meet there and we find out what we want to talk about?
I asked several times for a proposed agenda, and people didn't step up all the way. But if you have ideas, feel free to reach out to me. I'm trying to curate a document about some of the broader SIG things, and then try to maybe even break down on specific sub-project elements. There are, if you want to work on that with me, that would be highly beneficial. I've asked for help a number of times, and I got crickets. So if you're interested in curating topics for discussion, that would be helpful.
Maybe can contact you later on Slack, and because I have no idea of what the format of the session is, so maybe you give me some more background. I can probably think about it.
Sure.
But not to take time in this meeting. It's probably more like just to. I haven't proposed anything because I don't really know what the format of the. It's going to be something specific topics, more broad community-related topic. I don't know. So let's if you don't mind.
Yeah. The typical way we've run these things in the past, just to give people some background, is we kind of do it almost as an unconference, where the unconference, if you're not familiar with it, you kind of write down your ideas and people kind of get to vote on what topics they want to address. And then because the SIG has grown so large, I think that's the only way we can really handle it. So that way we can actually discuss like specific ones that get voted on the most.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
All right. Next item on the agenda is from Daniel.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask if there's a central list of links to the current KEP drafts, just so to make it easier for anyone who's interested in reading through them. I know eventually they'll become PRs in the Cluster API repo, but for now, and I'm happy to make that list, but where should it go?
So I kind of like the idea of tracking them, at least in the state that before they're ready for PR. Probably we can continue to track them at the top of this document, just not as we were documenting before as the work streams, I think. Vince, yes.
Yeah, I can take care of that. I'll do that afterward.
Thank you, Vince. All right. Any other topics?
Who's playing clarinet, Pablo?
My son.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Hey, I can probably arrange a short concert someday. You know, he will be happy.
All right. It looks like we have another topic coming in right now from Alan Meadows.
Just a quick one. You know, I'm trying to work through the material for the V1 Alpha 2 proposals that are sitting out there. I'm you know, coming into this a little late, but kind of curious when are you looking to sort of make a decision on which sort of path you're looking to go down? It just helps prioritizing how quickly to move through this material. Thank you.
I think some stuff will be uncontroversial. Oh, I should have raised my hand.
Yeah.
I think some stuff will be uncontroversial. Some stuff might be a little bit more contentious. So I think it'll probably be on the order of weeks, I'm guessing, to get the rest of the KEPs all merged. That's my swag.
Okay, thank you.
At least a couple of the work streams have penciled in Friday, June 7th as a target date for having their respective proposals largely finalized and ready for any lingering comments, but hopefully with pretty much everything resolved and agreed by the group. In terms of things that may be contentious or, like the controller versus synchronous based extensions, I don't know what the right thing is. If we can't come to an agreement, we may try to support multiple, or we may have to do a vote or something. So I'll defer to Tim and Jason for what that looks like if we have to go that route.
Hopefully, let's talk some more, and we'll hopefully by that time it doesn't have to come to it. But typically, because it falls underneath the approvers and reviewers category. So if the approvers and reviewers have given the thumbs up, that's the end of the day. It's just like KK, right?
Yeah. Does that answer your question, Alan?
It does. Thank you.
All right, great. Doug.
Sorry, Tim has used the phrase KK a couple of times, and I just don't know what that means.
Kubernetes.
Okay. That's slightly more helpful. What is that? Sorry, I'm new to the community, so I have no idea what that is.
Okay, that's good to know. The Kubernetes is the main repository, which has all of the main documentation for how the project flows is inside of what we call the KK repo, and so that's the standard practice for how we do most things.
Okay, thank you. Sorry to make everybody listen to something they probably already understood.
I think the clarification's good. Any other topics for today? Caleb.
Yeah, well, first I want to say, hey, Doug, good to see you from OpenStack. But yeah, when people say KK, it's often a shorthand for how the project functions as at large. So like Tim was saying, based primarily on the conventions and tooling applied to the Kubernetes monorepo. So it's a cultural thing as much as anything else. But good to see you.
Yeah, cool. Good to see you too. Thanks for filling that in.
Any other topics? No. All right. The documents that were previously linked in the work stream are now linked at the top of this document. So hopefully that'll help people with locating those. But if there's nothing else, I hope you all have a great day. Thank you very much.